This week on In Focus SoCal, how a local farm is serving as a safe place for people with disabilities to learn job and life skills. Plus, how a Los Angeles County Commission is supporting the disabled community with a variety of initiatives. And keeping Hollywood home, one LA City Council member's fight to keep film and television production in California. In Focus SoCal starts right now. Welcome to In Focus SoCal. I'm Tanya McRae. This month marks the 80th anniversary of National Disability Employment Awareness Month. It gives us an opportunity to recognize the positive influence that people with disabilities have on the country's workforce and economy. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, only 23% of Americans with a disability are employed. But a unique urban farm here in Southern California is providing purposeful employment training and development to adults living with disabilities. Take a look.
We have a nice thing that we like to do before we get started, and that is we remember that we're stewards of the earth.
3 days a week, Karen Friedman welcomes adults with diverse disabilities to Shemesh Farms in Malibu.
Shemesh means sun in Hebrew, and our farm, we have a saying that the sun shines on all of us, and our theme or our main goal is to provide meaningful employment, programming, and meaningful experiences for adults with diverse abilities.
Shemesh Farms began in 2013 and provides adults with physical and neurodiverse abilities valuable life and job skills in a safe community environment.
Okay, how's that look, Sal? What do you think?
Good.
Good? Ready for the dehydrator?
Yeah.
Okay.
All of the people that work on the farm are referred to as farm fellows. Sally Tallman is one of them.
For the green onions, make sure you cut them very small, like your pinky.
On any given day, as many as 140 farm fellows from ages 18 to 60 come to the large garden space where they cultivate and craft 25 different organic herbs as well as edible flowers and honey. About 70% of the fellows are on the autism spectrum. Sally is one of the paid farm fellows. Others just volunteer.
My favorite part of the work is learning different skills every day. It helps me stay on tasks and helps me be a better person.
They participate in planting, watering, composting, harvesting, curating, sorting, and bottling herbs, and making salt blends, tea bags, lavender sachets, and jarring honey that are then sold online. The Farm Fellows learn skills that are important in a workplace environment through tasks that foster figuring out next logical steps, develop motor skills, improve communication, and ways to collaborate with others.
It is definitely an agricultural job, but it really is also a job where people are working together in team environment and also individual work environments where people can find things that they are good at and find the things that are interesting to them and see where it takes them.
In nature, everything grows at its own pace, which makes farming ideal for people with disabilities who are all different and need to work at their own pace. For Alex Middleman, learning about hydroponics, which is growing plants in water instead of soil, suits him well.
It's important for me to work and have a job because it gives me a sense of accomplishment and community and just a good feeling at the end of the day. There's different kinds of rosemary.
Oh, that's interesting.
Alex also works on the farm newsletter and is assisted by his job coach, Michelle Phillips. She provides support and a personalized approach to help Shemesh participants learn skills they will need to become employable.
I'm always there to motivate, encourage them, help them stay on task, but I don't like to hover over them. I like them to have a sense of independence, and they're gaining new responsibilities every day, and they're doing great.
One of the biggest barriers adults with disabilities face when it comes to finding jobs and keeping them is employers' expectations. Karen says the majority of them are able to work, but they need jobs that will support their abilities, and employers need to find ways to approach these employees differently.
This is a huge population of people, and they can't be a forgotten group of people who just don't get to work. That's just not an acceptable solution. It has to be programming and experienced people working in organizations and companies that can offer these opportunities to everyone and the capabilities that they have.
Karen says people with physical and neurodiverse abilities may need the presence of a job coach alongside them in the workplace. And she says all employers should incorporate practices that accommodate their unique needs and provide opportunities where people of all abilities can thrive.
Everyone who's a human has a right to dignity and to respect and to work experiences and to feeling like they've accomplished something. I hope that more people hire people with diverse abilities. It's a wonderful, wonderful experience.
Shemesh Farms is doing such important work for our disabled community members. And even if you don't have a disability, you can still volunteer at the farm. And there are other ways you can support their programs. To learn more, head online to shemeshfarms.com. And still ahead, how one LA County Commission is supporting SoCal people living with disabilities. You're watching In Focus SoCal. We'll be right back. Welcome back to In Focus SoCal. The LA County Commission on Disabilities advocates for the equity, inclusion, and independence of community members with disabilities. The commissioners advise the Board of Supervisors, county departments, and other stakeholder groups, with the primary goal of ensuring that the needs and rights of individuals with disabilities are acknowledged and supported. Joining me now is Hector Ochoa, a commissioner who represents the county's 1st District. Thanks for taking the time to speak with me today, Hector.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
What are the main priorities the commission is working on based on feedback from the community?
Sure, yes. Some of the things that we're currently getting back from the community is certainly the housing crisis that we are all faced with here in Los Angeles and probably throughout the world. So the need for not just housing, but accessible, affordable, even universally designed housing throughout LA County. We're also looking at better response for people with disabilities during a natural disaster, like the recent fires, for example. Unfortunately, someone with a disability lost their life. That is not uncommon. So I do believe that we as a community, but also the county and everyone responsible should do better to respond to the needs of people with disabilities, including the recovery efforts. Other areas are education and protecting special education particularly, and ensuring that students with disabilities have equal access in their schools and in their classrooms. Transportation and beach access is another priority that we've heard. Having better access to our beaches and our bus systems that get us there are some of the priorities that we're hearing from our community at the moment.
And what do you think are some of the biggest misconceptions about people with disabilities?
There's a number of them, but I think just to name a few is our inability to work, to contribute to society, to be tax-paying citizens, to be able to have, social opportunities, whether that's friendships, romantic relationships, even the ability to drive and to get around, to be integrated in society. Believe it or not, still in 2025, that is still a misconception.
On the topic of dating, how should people approach it? And when do you think they should disclose that they have a disability?
I think every individual is different, and every individual's at a different phase in their acceptance of their disability. For me personally, I would prefer to disclose up front about my disability, about anything that's connected to my disability, like the potential of having children, any limitations, any barriers that I may face that my partner may feel could be a burden to the relationship. So for me, I think it's important to be honest up front to figure things out early rather than finding out later.
What are the challenges that you personally have faced as someone living with a disability, and how have you overcome them?
I've faced a number of challenges living with a disability. As a wheelchair user, I face barriers every day, whether it's finding an available, large, accessible restroom stall, functioning elevators, accessible parking. I mean, there's a great abuse of disabled placards these days. Employment opportunities. I am fortunate that I have a career that I have found. However, it was not an easy journey to get to this point. So people with disabilities still face a great barrier when it comes to employment and finding even entry-level positions available to them, all because of the basis of their disability and what they see rather than what they know.
Well, you have certainly overcome a lot. What is important to highlight when it comes to celebrating National Disability Employment Awareness Month?
That we are able, that we are resilient, that we are qualified, that we want the opportunity to show and to prove. Not that we have to, but we would certainly welcome that opportunity, and to recommit ourselves, as an employer myself, to ensuring that more people with disabilities have access to not just interviewing, but through to the entire process, and hopefully landing the jobs that they want rather than jobs that they think that we should have.
Hector, thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you again.
Still ahead, a conversation with LA City Councilman Adrin Nazarian about the biggest issues the council is focusing on right now. We'll be back after the break. Welcome back to In Focus SoCal. In January, former Assemblyman Adrin Nazarian was sworn in as one of the newest members of the Los Angeles City Council. He represents the 2nd District, which encompasses many neighborhoods that he represented in the Assembly, including North Hollywood, Toluca Lake, and Van Nuys. And joining me now is Councilman Nazarian. Good to have you on today.
Thank you for having me, Tanya. It's great to be here with you.
California expanded access to the state's film and television tax credit to help keep productions in the state. And at the local level, you started an initiative called Keep Hollywood Home, where you've been meeting with people who work in the industry. What have you been hearing these past few months?
Thank you for pointing that out, actually. If it wasn't for the entertainment industry, we wouldn't be Los Angeles, and we wouldn't either be California, potentially. Many of us forget that the start of the entertainment industry is the reason why technology is now also booming, the media industry, and all of these things are these industry sectors are interconnected, and one helped the other. So when I was, first of all, a staffer in the state legislature back in the mid-2000s or early 2000s, I was chief of staff to then State Assemblymember Paul Krikorian, and we worked on the first iteration of the California Film Tax Credit, and we were able to wrangle enough support to get past the initial iteration of that, which was only $100 million tax incentive program. Then when I got elected to office, I worked on another measure, and we were able to triple that, more than triple that. Well, that was the case for about 10 years or so until the governor this year doubled that from there and made it into a $750 million investment of tax incentives into the industry, which is more than welcome and very necessary, given what's been happening to the entertainment industry and how it's been getting picked apart from not just other states, but also competition coming from other countries. It was also important to take a look at how the city conducts itself in this arena and make sure that we're not overcharging or excessively making it onerous for filming to take place in Los Angeles. So it was critical for us to talk to all of the folks in the industry, everyone from the folks that make the decisions to invest in the production in the city to all the folks working below the line in the production. And we're talking to all the vendors as well, and then looking inwards into the city, looking at all the different departments and asking them questions of what we can do to reduce duplication, what we can do to reduce cost, what we can do to make it more streamlined, to get the permit and then to be able to do the filming within the city limits at least.
And on that topic, what are your thoughts on President Donald Trump's proposed tariff on foreign films?
You know, I appreciate that the administration wants to figure out something to do to help. And I think if they speak with the entertainment industry, with their own ambassadors that they had appointed some months ago, they would hear a very different story, and they would realize that putting a tariff on filming is not the solution. Many of these films have different components made in different places. So if one small component is made in someplace else, but the entirety of the film is made in the United States or in California, well, that's then going to be harming us. So we need to make sure that the steps we take, first and foremost, do no harm to us, and then second, figure out how it can better advance and further what we're trying to accomplish.
Proposition 50 has been a hot topic with the special election drawing closer, and the City Council unanimously passed a resolution last month, which you co-sponsored, that endorsed Prop 50. Democrats have said this is a needed response to President Trump pushing Texas redistricting, as well as some other red states. Is this effort worth the estimated $200 million cost to taxpayers?
What's the price of democracy, Tanya? Look, we either lose our democracy by bleeding to death slowly, or we take steps to make sure we stop the bleeding. And this was one big step. Trust me, I never wanted to undo the system that we had come up with in place after fighting for it for so long, to make sure that our lines get drawn independently. But when you hear an administration make calls out to states and say, find the opportunities, create the opportunities, redraw your lines to make sure more Republicans win so that we keep control of the House, you need to react to that. You can't sit back and allow that to happen. You know, the laws of physics apply to the laws of politics as well. For every action, there's an opposite and equal reaction. And this is California's reaction, and I wholeheartedly support the governor in what he's doing. And I thought it was appropriate to very quickly introduce a motion to show the governor and our state leaders that the city of Los Angeles supports what they do.
For the first time in California history, residents will be able to identify as Middle Eastern or North African on state forms that collect demographic or ethnic data. Can you talk about the MENA bill and what it means to the Arab American community?
Thank you for bringing that up. MENA stands for Middle Eastern North African. And by the way, it includes many people. It includes Arabs, Armenians, Assyrians, Kurds, Israelis. And for a very long time, many of these demographics were going unrecognized. And when you look at when you look at what comes with all of these different characteristics and traits and these groups of individuals, you have different educational, health, social, and life-saving components that aren't necessarily being met because all of this group is just being aggregated into either white or other. And so it was critical for us to disaggregate these different components and make sure that everyone is recognized for the ethnic or racial background that they come from these areas, the North Africa and Middle Eastern regions of the world, so that we can better address a lot of the needs that many of these communities have. So I was very proud to see the governor sign this bill. and very proud to see that this could also lend a hand to the census counting that's going to be taking place on every decennial basis, because the more data we have, the better we can address needs of our residents and our constituents, given their unique set of circumstances coming from the regions that they do.
Councilman Nazarian, thank you so much for your time today. We appreciate you.
Thank you very much, Tanya. I appreciate your time.
And that does it for this edition of In Focus SoCal. Tell us about what's going on in your community. You can reach us at infocussocal@charter.com. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.